Okay guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Matt here with another Marvel Future Fight video, and we are back to officially being Matt again. Yep, we went ahead, paid the crystals and changed our name, so we are no longer Ravens, so hopefully that will mean no more confusion with certain other people. So anyway, unfortunately one of the side effects of changing that was that there was a small reset in my game and it got rid of all my favorited characters. So we're going to have to go ahead and re-favorite all of these. But yes, we are going to be looking at the patch notes. So let's dive straight into the forum and have a look at everything that is coming in the upcoming patch tonight, which is making everyone feel a little bit crazy. So let's have a look at what's good, what's bad, and what's making everyone mad. So yeah, you can see we are getting new uniforms, as we know, for Green Goblin, Doc Ock and Electro. And we are getting Transcendence Awakenings for 4 characters: Electro, Mysterio, Vulture and Sandman. Interesting choices there. And you can see it's a roving patch tonight, so no downtime or anything. We just have to restart the game when you're playing and it'll be there. You just have to download a little something for a couple of minutes and then we'll be in. So we can see here Green Goblin, he gets chain hit damage on his uniform effect. We get a new leadership which applies to all allies, not just Dark Avengers, which is pretty pog. All attacks and dodge rate both increase by 40%. And then he gets a passive which increases his own damage by 30%, as well as skill damage bonus damage. And then a tier 2 passive which applies to all villains, increases damage dealt by 45%. So he is looking very, very good indeed for ABX, when you consider looking at his skills that he gets, as well as the standard by now HP recovery on his 3rd, he has paralysis on his 4th, and he has burn damage as well. So he could be pretty good for ABX. We shall have to wait and see, but here is hoping. I don't know if that's just me being wildly optimistic there, but well, we'd like to think so. So that's his, and moving on, and this is the one that I was kind of up in arms of, well, I don't say up in arms, avoiding the pun there, for Doc Ock, but I was wondering whether he'd be a villain or neutral. But he's back to being combat and he is still staying a villain, but I guess that makes sense in the grand scheme of things. He couldn't be Sinister 6 if he's a hero, I guess. But yeah, he gets a nice uniform effect of 15% recovery of HP and a 200% damage proc for 1 attack whenever his, I believe that's his 3rd skill is used, Tentacle Shockwave. He gets a self buff on his passive, and he gets the usual chain hit bonus damage, skill damage buff on his tier 2 passive that we see quite often these days. Not too much changes in terms of his actual skills from the looks of it. Just the likes of stun, bleed, incapacitation, immunity to damage, lightning damage. On 1 skill. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to warrant a judgment or a change of any CTPs there, but we shall see how that plays out. And everything else is just mostly physical damage by the looks of it. Decrease of defenses, we know that isn't really meta anymore. Obviously that was something 2-3 years ago, but ever since he introduced World Boss Legends, it doesn't really mean an awful lot for end game players. So unfortunately, yeah, it's kind of the most disappointing, I think, of the 3 so far. Because let's move on to the person I think could be the real sleeper hit of this update, and that is Electro, who, with a speed villain, actually has a better leadership. It applies to all Sinister 6 allies, increases all attacks by 60%. Defenses by 60%, speeds by 15%. So, I mean, I was going to suggest a T with Green Goblin in the lead, but Electro could be his own lead with this. And then with his applying to self, increases damage to superheroes and decreases damages from superheroes by 30%. It's looking pretty sweet. We've got accumulation on his 3rd skill, as well as a 35% recovery of HP. We have got paralysis, stun, incapacitation on his 4th, and then we've got 60% chance to penetrate super armor. I mean, he is looking like he could be the character who could actually overtake and be meta for ABX and maybe overtake Lunar Snow. I don't know, elemental damage could be good. The awakening skills I'm not going to go over. You can see they're all very much copy and paste, the same as the one that we already have existing in game for Doc Ock. The only difference is that they're going to be different damage effects: lightning damage for Electro, mind damage for Mysterio, and physical for Vulture and Sandman. And then we have the unfortunate, or necessary, I guess, part of all updates these days, that are the artifacts. There is nothing inspired about any of these artifacts, so I'm not quite sure if they just going through the motions with these or what, but I can't see anything here that really makes me want to go, oh, I'm going to actually spend money and try to get these, because none of them look like they're actually going to make a massive amount of difference to the characters. And that is it. And as you can see at the bottom there, the amount of dislikes to likes, well, I believe the kids say ratioed. So, yes, as we can see, the massive elephant in the room, which is not an elephant, it's a goblin. Green Goblin, because there is no mention at all of any awakening or tier 3 for our man Norman. And if you think that that's actually going to stay that way and he's never going to get anything, it was just an oversight by a dev. Whereas Doc Ock, we already know, already had his awakening, and then everyone else is getting theirs. Well, I think you're pretty much mistaken. I cannot see them just completely ignoring Green Goblin completely and not giving him anything at all. You can see Sandman isn't even getting a uniform, but he's getting his, so he's going to join the likes of Elsa Bloodstone in the transcended but still useless pile. Mysterio, it's great to see him finally getting his. I mean, he should have really had a Transcendent Sword tier 3 when Far From Home came out all those time ago. And we still have one gear left to do. So let's have a look. Right, let's see how much this takes up in TCP just to do this one gear, rolling it 3 times. Oh, 24. Okay, I guess that's not the worst. It could have been a lot worse. So there we go. So we've got Mysterio ready. I'm sorry, Sandman, but I'm not going to get you or Vulture ready because it's just really not worth it. But at least Mysterio is ready, so we can get him done as soon as the patch comes out. It'll be interesting to see how much we can do with him. And yeah, I guess we'll just have to pour one out for poor old Lizard, who's been completely ignored in this update. And well, the less said about Rhino, he really has got the short end of the stick, both in the films. We all forget about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and how awful that was. And yeah, this looks like being the update then. But as anyone who's been playing the game for a while would know, this is not the first time where we've had an update where a character has gotten a look and then we've gone, where's their tier 3? Where's their transcendence? It hasn't come. And then the next week or the week after, we've then gone and got the transcendence or awakening or tier 3, you know, whichever one it is. If you think back, and this is going to be like a real test of memory for a lot of people, but when we got the Far From Home update, so that was a good few years ago now, about 6 months before, they were doing a tour of the Marvel Future Fight Studios on a live stream, and we were all watching it in Cynic Alex's stream, and they had a silhouette of a character we didn't recognise, and they were talking about how they're planning, you know, for updates months in advance. And it turns out that that character was actually Molten Man. Now, it was all silhouetted, so you can see, if you just imagine Molten Man there in completely in dark, silhouetted in black there, we didn't know who that character was because we hadn't seen that character model. We didn't know how Molten Man was going to look in the Far From Home movie, so we had no idea. So the fact that people think that it's just some oversight by one dev and that Green Goblin just isn't getting anything is ludicrous. He will get something, but if you look at the events that are coming up in the future, We all know the 7-year anniversary is on the 29th, but there's nothing really between now and then. Sure, there may be an event or two. You know, we've got a 7-day check-in event coming up, but I do think that next week, and I don't know why they've broken it up, and I know a lot of people say it makes no sense, and I agree, but I think we will get Green Goblin Tier 3 in the next week. They're just spreading it out and they're portioning it out, so we've got something every week to sort of look forward to in terms of something to actually do before the anniversary comes round. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Smash that like button, and if you could subscribe, you're doing us a massive favour, and I'll see you all in the next one. Okay, see you then, take care, bye for now.